are. Yes. Good
And
morning.
I just finished ending this thing, and I don't know if Luke's got still on here, but I got yelled at for Luke shooting 4 for 30 when I was assistant at Louisville because for whatever reason, Coach Pitino thought I said he was a shooter when he left George Mason. So I was the one that got yelled at for that, just so you know.
Well, we'll give Luke the opportunity to chime in then if he wants to defend himself there.
It's amazing how many times 4 for 30 is getting brought up in this call. But yeah, I owe all of it to Coach Keatts getting to Louisville. I would love to just go ahead and ask a question here, if that's all right.
Go ahead.
Coach.
You can ask the first one. Go ahead, Luke.
Coach, I know going through a little tough stretch here, he kind of had some inconsistencies with guys that have played really well at times. You know, Darion Sebron, I think, is most improved in the ACC. I talked to you the other day, and probably him and PJ Hall. But in terms of those guys just focused on scoring versus some of the principles that win you basketball games, how are you kind of talking them through, you know, taking opportunities and being aggressive versus making plays that, for example, kind of get their teammates involved, or those plays that get you wins, not just keeping it close?
Well, I think, here's the biggest thing, and I think every coach will say this, is when you get into February, some of the offensive plays that you've been running may not go. You may not even shoot the ball as well. Because obviously, a lot of teams will have tied legs, but at the end of the day, you got to rely on your defense to kind of get you out of some games. This was one of the games that we just played against Notre Dame that we were not really sharp offensively. Most times we've been able to score, and when we didn't score, I thought we gave up too many easy transition baskets. We got off to a tremendously slow start. I think we were down 21-4. And our guys came back and took the lead at 43-40. But some of our better guys, I want them to have more buy-in and do a better job on the defensive end because, you're not going to always have a great night. And, in Sebron's case, he's had a great year for us. But teams are starting to game plan against him, making him become more of a passer. And so in our situation, then I want him to be able to create some stuff or some more opportunities off his defense.
One follow-up here, Coach. I know the comebacks have been really impressive. You've been in games late, but the starts, like you mentioned, against Notre Dame and probably UNC, just coming out with a lack of energy or focus, or what do you kind of attribute that to?
I just think it's the youth. I think our guys, it's so funny. I may need to give my halftime speech at the beginning of the game, and maybe that'll change things around. Luke, it's so, we don't, I think one of our deals is, and I've got to look at this because we don't have, so many bodies in warm-ups. I want to cut it down a little bit. So I think we come out of the gate ready to go because you only got, right now we only got 7, 8, possibly 9 scholarship guys playing. And there may be something we have to change what we're doing at the beginning because I want to get off to a better start.
We'll go to James Henderson. Go ahead, James.
Kevin, hope you're doing all right this morning. Correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like Terquavion is playing more on the ball, using ball screens. I was interested, is that out of necessity? And also, how do you feel that impacts him maybe going forward long term?
I think we're moving him around for a couple of reasons because obviously it's probably more so, James, that we can get Sebron in different spots. If you remember at the beginning of the year, we played him off the ball and he was very effective. And then we moved him to the basketball and he was very effective. And I think as teams adjust to where he is on the floor, that gives a different role for Terquavion as far as on the ball. But, he's very capable of, I know most people don't realize this, but he's capable of playing some point guard if you need to because he got good size. You have to respect him off of ball screens because of his ability to shoot it. And so he can make some plays off of that. But it's more of a combination of trying to move Sebron in different places.
And just to follow up, you have Wake Forest midweek. Your thoughts on their team going into that game?
Talented, and I know this has been said. They've done a good job identifying some great transfers that really fit into their system and to be able to play the way they want to play. And then, they're playing with a lot of confidence. Williams is as good as they come. He's a really good player, but then it's so many good pieces around them that they're playing with great confidence. they're playing their basketball and, probably one of the hottest teams in our league right now.
I appreciate it, Kevin.
Thank you.
We'll go to Jonas Pope. Go ahead, Jonas.
Good morning, Coach. Hope you're doing well. I wanted to ask you about EB and Jalen. I know you said several times this year that they're still really freshmen because they played limited minutes last year. They've shown some growth. EB on the defensive end, Jalen against Syracuse. In your eyes, how have you seen them progress this year for the program?
It's funny, Jonas, we were talking about this morning. Both have had games where you like, here they come, and they're going to be good. You think about over at Duke, EB, I think he has 10 points and 9 offensive rebounds. You're like, man, this guy's coming. And then you see the Syracuse game, you saw Jalen Gibson, which we hadn't seen in it the entire year. Both of those guys have done a great job in practice, and they really beat up on each other, and they've gotten better in practice. And it's been hard to get it from practice to the game where they're more consistent. That being said, I think they both have grown in a lot of areas. Neither one of those guys, we didn't know which one, but coming into the year, we expected them to play possibly, 9-10 minutes to back up Manny Bates. And both of them have done, certainly in a tough situation, have stepped up for us in different ways. And so I'm proud of their growth. You cannot substitute the experience that they're getting this year. We will be better for it, whether it's the end of this season or next year. But I think both have taken really positive steps.
And as a quick follow-up, what would you like to see from them the last month of the season? Is it just bringing it from practice to the game or is there something else you want to see from them the last month?
Well, I just think consistency. At this point, we are who we are. And I think both of those guys know that they have to play. And so I don't have any, with Ernest gone and Greg's not available and, Manny. And so I want them to come in and play with extreme confidence. They've been playing all year long, and nobody's going to feel sorry for us. You're playing in the ACC and you're an ACC scholarship guy. So I want them to accept that role and just go in there and play.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thanks, Jonas.
We'll go to Tom Noy. Go ahead, Tom.
Kevin, you saw Notre Dame twice in 11 days recently. I just want to know, what do they do defensively this year that maybe they haven't done in the past to where their defensive numbers are really, really good?
Well, I think, in my opinion, I know you asked me about defensively. I'm going to say something offensively that I think helps them defensively is, when you look at the team last year, that Jerome Durham, who was a really good player, but he was a defensive player.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you get Atkinson, who can really score. So it makes them really tough, because they've got an inside out threat. They're making 10 3-pointers a game. I think that's really helped them on the defensive end because, it seems to me they're a more connected group. It seems to me that they're more bought into the defensive side of the ball. And that's what you get with some veteran group. Last year, I think they had a bunch of guys who were trying to figure out each other. They had a couple transfers with Trey Wards. They had a couple guys. And now that they've had, some experience and have played together for a year, they understand in order for them to be really good, they got to defend. Last year, they would just try to outscore you.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're playing winning basketball because as veteran teams decided that when veteran teams decide that they have to defend, it's so hard to beat them because most teams can score the ball, but they're bought in. And give Mike credit; he's got them bought in more on a defensive end than anything.